Hey guys, Jason here with another LaunchBox Developer Sessions video. We'll start off this week with an overview of what we've worked on this week for LaunchBox, and actually Big Box is what I've been focusing on for the past couple days especially. And we already have two new features out for Big Box. Like I said last week, we're going to be focusing on Big Box. So I've got alpha-numeric navigation in Big Box for long lists. Basically, if you go left with a joystick in your list of games, you'll bring up a list of the alphabet, and you can select a particular letter to jump to that point in the list. So that really helps for navigation for long lists. And we've gotten a lot of appreciation for that feature, so I'm pleased with that. Then I also added a pin-based locking system to Big Box. This has been another much requested feature because people will have guests come over or their kids play on their game cabinets, and they don't want the kids or the guests to be able to change things in their collection. So when you lock your collection, it prevents people from changing their options or going in and favoriting games or even exiting or shutting down the system, etc. So that is in there as well. So those are the two features that I've added into Big Box the last couple days, and pleased with how those turned out. And those are in the latest beta. Just put out beta 2, 6.0, beta 2 this morning, and fixed a few minor issues with those things this morning. And that's it for LaunchBox and Big Box this week. Going forward, oh, I did one other thing. I finally changed the sorting algorithms. In both LaunchBox and Big Box, the sorting algorithms have been changed to ignore leading the or leading the, and then and the, a, and. There it is in the sorting. So, and I know that's been requested for a long time. Finally got that in there. All right, so, and then next, going forward for Big Box, I'm going to be adding some new views. That is the primary immediate goal here as far as development. Starting tomorrow, I'm going to be working on some new views. And then for the LaunchBox Games database, I've added moderation comments. That doesn't sound like a big deal, but it is, because we've got a lot of moderators in there. I think we got something like 29 moderators now, which is awesome. And we've added the ability for them to add reasons why they've rejected changes, which is a big deal because every once in a while we get somebody in the system who doesn't really know what the rules are or doesn't quite understand how everything works and ends up putting in some changes that aren't really appropriate. So now at least we have a way to communicate that stuff back out. Also did late last week, I did a bunch of tweaking with the searches and the moderation. Helped speed it up. Actually, that was some this week as well. So that's the status of the LaunchBox Games database and Big Box. Like I said, going forward, I'm going to be focusing on Big Box likely the rest of the week. Put some new views in there. That's going to be significant. So probably focus on that tomorrow and Friday. The last thing I wanted to mention before I get into questions was Retropalooza. So I'm going to be attending. Really excited, actually. I've never had the chance to go to a retro gaming convention before, so I'm super stoked. Going to be attending Retropalooza in Texas, and actually it's in Arlington, Texas. And I'm going to be attending that on October 1st and 2nd of this year. So if you guys are in the area and you want to come meet me and just talk about anything really, I would love to meet everybody. So hit me up there if you're in the area. Love to see you there at the convention. The other thing is, I would really love. I don't know how much of a stretch this is. I really don't. I don't have any idea how much of a stretch this is. But I'd really love to do some kind of a panel. I do plan on having a booth there. I'm going to sponsor the convention, so I'll definitely have a booth. But I'm hoping to do a panel as well. So here's what I need you guys to do. If you are going to come, if you can come to Retropalooza, please do. because I really love to meet some people there and have a good time there on October 1st and 2nd in Arlington, Texas. So there's that, and then also I'm trying to get on a panel, so I need you guys to tweet to the Retropalooza and tell them that you want to see me on a panel there if that interests you. So there's that. Or hit them up on Facebook, and I'll put links to their Twitter and their Facebook in the comments below or in the description below. All right, so that is that. Moving on to some questions here. I'll start with Ali Essa, and he says, I hope to see soon the ability to separate ROM sets from the same console, or LaunchBox being able to sort between USA, EU, Japan ROMs. I currently have my US games in LaunchBox, and I don't want to add EU and Japan because it seems like it would be a big mess with multiple duplicates. So if I could quickly only show USA games or Europe games, that would be great. All right. So really with that, we added a region field recently to, I don't know how recently, it's probably been a while, but we did add a region field to games in LaunchBox a while back. And that was kind of the point. The point was to be able to distinguish between EU and Japan and USA games and be able to filter them as well. And I think the issue there that we have right now is that the importers, they don't really help. They don't have any way to classify whether the game is US or EU or Japan. And a lot of ROMs that will put this in the file name, but not all of them. So that's one issue with that. Of course, if you were able to import those different region games separately, you could set them all to be a particular region, and that problem would be solved. Of course, you can use the custom filters, or you can use the sort by or arrange by features to deal with the different regions. That should work fine. But really, we just need a way to populate the region for all the various games that you've imported. So I'm not sure if we have a Bitbucket ticket for that, but we should put one in if not, and that would probably solve a lot of those issues, I think. So let me know, Ali, if you think that's a good solution or what else we might be missing from that front. Secondly, he says, something I've suggested is the games database being suggested games you don't have. Hey, this game is missing in your collection. Interested? I think that's a good idea for sure. That makes a lot of sense to be able for the games database to suggest new games for you. So that's a great idea going forward. We should put a ticket in for that on the Bitbucket for the games database, which is separate than the Bitbucket for LaunchBox, so you have to be careful there. But anyways, yeah, that's a great idea. We should do that eventually. All right, DOS76 says, LaunchBox Online sounds awesome to me. And I just put that in here because I really appreciated that comment. So thank you, Derek, on that. I'm looking at that more long-term now than I was before, simply because of feedback from you guys. Obviously, you guys want me to focus on Big Box and LaunchBox features, and so I've definitely been doing that a lot more here, just because I want to do what you guys want me to do. I want to be working on stuff that you guys appreciate. So that is the focus for right now, but I'm still excited about the online features for LaunchBox as well. So that's still the direction I want to go ultimately, eventually, but I am going to take a step back from that kind of stuff for a while to implement some more of these features in LaunchBox and Big Box. I'm really happy that we've got the games database to a spot now where I can relax a little bit on that. We have still been working on it, but obviously it doesn't need the attention that it did previously development-wise, so it's good to be back in LaunchBox and Big Box development. All right. Tomahawk, he says, is there any thought on multi-monitor support as a view option? I would really like to play on one monitor and show additional information like keyboard controller layout, manuals, custom fields on the other. Really, that's the first time that request has come up. I think that's a great idea. I think unfortunately that's probably a fairly unique request. It's not something that a lot of people are going to be looking for, I would expect. But I do think that's a great idea. I can see that being huge um, on a multi-monitor setup, being able to play your game on one screen and seeing details or help information on the other. I think that's awesome. That's a great idea. So let's put in a ticket for that, and I think there's great potential there. Although it is kind of it is kind of it's I would imagine most people don't have multiple monitors. But let me know, guys, who's all interested in that, and we can boost it up or vote on the Bitbucket ticket if you guys are interested in that. All right. Drunken Punk 800 says antivirus programs are pretty much crap. Yep, I tried one back in 2006. It's a long time ago. And all it did was kill my performance and rootkit into my OS, so it couldn't be uninstalled. I boxed it up so it looked unopened and took that crap back to the store. Haven't used any since. I just wipe Windows when I have any problems. So, yeah, that's pretty much been my experience as well. And I just wanted to bring this up just to demonstrate really don't be using third-party antivirus programs because they slow your computer down to a crawl and they just give you problems and you can't trust them. So I just wanted to nail that down once again. Um, but anyways, uh, really you shouldn't have to wipe Windows or reinstall at all anymore because, like I said in the last video, Windows comes with built-in antivirus protection and it works great and it's unintrusive and all that stuff. So anyways, enough beating a dead horse there with the antivirus programs. Magnus87, he says, I wish for the next release an improvement of Windows games of the Windows games importing process. Adding a ROM is easy, adding MS-DOS games is a piece of cake, adding a Steam game is cool, adding a MAME game is better now, but adding a Windows game is still a little messy. Yeah, it is. Well, the Windows import that we're looking at right now, it does work really well, assuming that your games are in the Windows Start menu. That's the trick. If you have a bunch of games on your computer that aren't in the Windows Start menu, it doesn't work so hot. So I think the plan as far as improving the Windows import going forward is to be able to import a folder of shortcuts. Obviously, due to the nature of Windows, you ideally for Windows games you kind of need shortcuts because you don't know in the game folder which exe or which command is supposed to be started to start up a game, and it's almost impossible to guess with that information. And there's not really any database you can go to right now to be able to figure that stuff out that I know of. So Windows imports are actually, believe it or not, one of the most tricky types of imports to do. The DOS imports are actually more simple simply because there's databases out there of data that have the exe file for this game is this and stuff like that. So that's what's really helped with the DOS imports. But Windows imports, it's not like a game is a single file like a ROM file for for console platforms. So that's tricky. But I think the next step that we can take is just to allow you to select a particular folder that has a bunch of shortcuts to your Windows games. I think that will help, and that particularly has been requested more than once. But let me know if that's going to solve it for you, Magnus, or if you have any other ideas. But truthfully, Windows game importing is surprisingly still a challenge to implement. All right, and lastly, I have Michael Spahn. He says, will there be a way to import Windows 10 apps? Even Steam can't seem to figure that one out. I'll tell you why. This is unbelievable, but Microsoft doesn't want anybody to be able to do that, and it's really pretty frustrating. But there is no way to properly go and get a list of Windows 10 applications that are installed on your system and even go out and start them. There are ways to start them, but there's there's not even an official way to start those games outside of the start menu. The EXEs are buried and locked down on the system, um, and the shortcuts are as well. I mean, it's been a long time since I looked into how that stuff all works, but it's kind of ridiculous because it takes a rocket scientist in order to even figure out how to start a Windows 10 app outside of the Windows 10 start menu or Windows 8 start menu. It's kind of stupid how that's all set up. Um, I agree that we need that though. We definitely need that, and I know there are ways to do it. It just unfortunately at this point involves a bunch of hacks, and it's not really a very there's no good solutions for it. So, and that's why Steam has chosen not to do it, I'm sure. And that's why it's not done for us either. I know if on the forums there are users that have figured out how to do it, how to add Windows 10 apps to LaunchBox and have them run. It's been a while since I looked at that, um, but I can review that at some point here, and we should put a ticket in for that if that's something you're interested in. Let's all vote on that ticket. I know this is actually surprising how uncommon that request is. Most of us retro gamers apparently aren't using the Windows 10 games very much at all, which is kind of surprising. But anyways, excuse me. I think that's it for this video. Hopefully I didn't miss any questions. But let me know if I did on the next in the comments on this video, and I'll be sure to address it next time. Thank you guys. Really appreciate everything you guys do in the community, all the support, all the help on the forums, LaunchBox purchases, all of it. So thank you guys so much, and I will see you next week. Have a good one.